According to Newsday Zimbabwe, they say that Zimbabwe has gone for more than a year without a substantive Prosecutor General, following the unceremonious departure of Kombirai Hodzi in February last year after a 4-year stint. So we need to take a look onto the Prosecutor General. The Prosecutor General should be independent and number one, subject to the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe, the Prosecutor General is independent, is not subject to the direction or control of anyone, and must exercise his or her functions impartially, without fear, favor, prejudice, or bias. The Prosecutor General must formulate and publicly disclose the general principles by which he or she decides whether and how to institute and conduct criminal proceedings. So at this moment in time, we have an acting Prosecutor General. That is according to this report, which means that that person does not take responsibility, full responsibility of his actions as the Prosecutor General. We have gone for a year, this person being just acting, and we have gone for a year without the president making sure that he appoints somebody who is going to take responsibility and formulate the way the prosecution should work. Right now, you see the prosecution of Honorable Job Sikala and others. You see the prosecution of people like Jacob Ngarivume. You see that the prosecution itself is becoming outrageous, is becoming more of a political proxy of ZANU-PF. We also noted that Themba Mliswa talked about how the prosecutor can be directed and guided by the state itself. Yet in this case, the constitution is clear and says that he must be independent and is not subject to direction or control of anyone, and he must exercise his or her functions impartially, without fear, favor, or prejudice or bias. But we are seeing that the prosecution in Zimbabwe is now working on certain instructions where the people who are not supposed to be granted bail, we see the prosecution giving them bail, and the people who are supposed to be given bail, we see the prosecution trying by all means possible to oppose bail, just for the sake of other people who would have instructed to do so, which shows that we now have a problem in Zimbabwe, a very serious problem which we all cannot ignore, which we all need to seriously interrogate and find solutions and say, hey, Zimbabweans, what should we do? What do we have to say about all these things? So I don't know your views, Team Zimbabwe. Can we proceed as a nation without a Prosecutor General? Is it safe for the nation of Zimbabwe to actually proceed without a substantive Prosecutor General who can take responsibility of any wrongdoing? The problem we have right now with the current acting Prosecutor General is that if he misbehaves and if he does not take instructions from those above, they would just instruct his removal, his quick removal, which means for him to continue to benefit, he must work according to their instructions. That is wrong, and that is a constitutional deficiency. If you take a look onto a substantive Prosecutor General, his removal from office is very, very difficult, and if he's doing his job correctly, it will take time for even the president to remove him. It will be very difficult for the president to remove him because you need to find a crime to link him so that you can remove him. Without any crime, it is going to be a very difficult situation altogether, because it's difficult for you to just unseat a Prosecutor General. So this is the reason why we are saying ZANU-PF haina basa ni vana, haina hanya ni vana.